Welcome back to the Casual Observer. I'm your host, Daniel. We're continuing on with free agency. Summer League is here. All the top rookies are playing. How much they play, we will soon find out. But we're a couple of days in to the Vegas Summer League. But first, let's go with the free agency because there's been a few more signings since we last spoke. Lo and behold, Gary Trent opted out of his very small minimum deal with Milwaukee. I think we all assumed he was just going to head to somewhere that needed shooting for, a bit of the taxpayer exception. But no, Milwaukee bringing back 4 years, $64 million. I think it's all guaranteed. So great work by his agency. Not really sure what the Milwaukee Bucks are doing. Obviously retain the asset, maybe move him later. But yeah, average of $16 million a year. Look, he's only 27, but you just got a slew of guards from the Heat in that trade for Giannis. Tyler Hero, Jaime Jaquez, Kasper Jakučiūnas, and you've already got Ryan Rollins, Kevin Porter Jr., AJ Green. You've got an absolute backlog of guards. So it was an interesting signing. Didn't really make a ton of sense for both parties. Well, made perfect sense for Gary Trent. You're going to get $16 million a year for 4 years. Why wouldn't you? But yeah, for the Bucks, unless you're planning on playing him at the 3, it doesn't make a ton of sense. But again, if you retain the asset, $16 million becomes a very tradable contract as the Bucks try and dig their way out of the Giannis trade. The wave and stretch of Damian Lillard, the Miles Turner contract, Kyle Kuzma's contract. There's a lot of messiness on the books. I don't think this exactly helps that scenario, but who am I to tell the Bucks what they're doing is right or wrong? But yeah, to me, the signing, unless you're just sending him away at mid-season, which is the earliest you can send him, you're going to be a very small team who's losing a lot. So either way, interesting signing there. We've got ourselves, I think we mentioned it last time, but Norm Powell to the Bulls, 2 years, $45 million. They've got Buzelis, they've got Giddey, they've got Caleb Wilson, who, if you just watched him play in Summer League, Memphis versus Chicago was an absolute star. We'll go into that later, but 35 points, 7 threes. The threes were meant to be his weak point. Just looked a class above. So to add Norm Powell, and obviously you've got Nick Claxton, I think, for the Bulls is a hell of a signing. Pull them away from the Heat, which is a rival. These guys have been meeting in the play-in tournament. Chicago, Miami, Atlanta seems to be your mainstays in the East. So I think this helps them detract from one rival and boost them up as well. So really love what Chicago is doing. Though I will say, after watching that Summer League game, not all that impressed with Asenge. And not all that impressed with Dalen Swain, though it is only one game. So I think Dalen Swain's playing out of position. He's playing point guard in their Summer League team. And fair enough, Jamal Murray was a 2-guard. He ended up being a point guard for the championship-winning Denver Nuggets. But so it's one game of Summer League. Who cares? But yeah, Swain just looked to be struggling in that position to create offense. So great stuff for the signing of Norm Powell. I don't think we went into it enough last time. Just how big that could be when you detract from someone you're literally going up against, and when you have a huge hole in shooting. Though if Caleb Wilson shoots like he just shot, that helps fix up some more of that. Then I think the Bulls could easily be a 6 seed this year. Rui Hachimura goes to the Clippers. Wanted to stay in LA. Once the Lakers used that cap space on Quentin Grimes and Colin Sexton, I think Rui's number was just going to get too out of reach. Even though they had the bird rights for him, it's going to get too far out of reach. So Rui gets to stay in LA. A 2-year, $28 million deal is, I think, honestly, amazing value for the Clippers. I thought Rui was, he's only 28. I thought a 4-year deal at, if he could have got around that 70 mil mark, I thought that was well and truly in play. So I think this is a bargain deal. And look, for the Clippers, they've turned themselves around in the space of 12 months. You think of when they had, maybe even 18 months, but, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, James Harden, Russell Westbrook, Zubats. They were old and no picks, and they looked like they just had no future. So to now have those assets turned into Keaton Wagler, Darius Garland. If they keep Benedict Mathurin, they've got him. You've got the rookie that they drafted, whose name just Niederhausen. There we go, we got there. Rui Hachimura. They've got a lot that's just, it's unproven, it's untested, but to go from one of the oldest rosters to now a young, unproven roster, and then have players like Rui Hachimura who are just solid role players. They don't really go outside their role too much. Look, Rui's not amazing at any one thing, in my opinion, but really, really solid at, corner spot up threes, especially if he's only shooting, say, 10 times a game. Like, to be, 40% from downtown when you're not always in rhythm is just, it's an amazing skill set. So, great locker room guy, an absolute bargain for the Clippers. He gets, obviously he gets a bit of a discount because he made it clear he wants to stay in LA. Just went to the other LA team. So, look, I'd say win-win for both sides because Rui wouldn't have signed it. He had a different market, but he's obviously happy where he is. The Grizzlies kind of steal away Quentin Post from the Warriors. 3-year, $30 million deal. Not all of it's guaranteed. First year's fully guaranteed. Second year, half is guaranteed. Third year, nothing is guaranteed. But 26-year-old center. The Warriors don't have Draymond Green signed. They did sign DeAnthony Melton back. 2 years, $11 million. But, they're waiting for the LeBron domino to fall. So the Grizzlies had a really savvy piece of business there. Front load the contract. You can easily get off of it. Obviously, when you're in a conference that's got Wemby, you've got to load up on size. And, you really put the Warriors up against it there because are you really going to pay $10 million for Quentin Post? I wouldn't. So I think, you get a player for nothing, basically. You had that cap space to use. There is a salary floor that the Grizzlies have to hit. So I see no negatives for the Grizz. They get a 3-point shooter to use to back up, Zach Edey if he's injured, Isaiah Stewart. So I would say they've got three very different centers now. You've got an undersized Isaiah Stewart, but amazing rim protector. Zach Edey, another amazing rim protector who's tried to expand his game, but just is always injured. And then Quentin Post, who's got great range, not such good size at the rim. So three very different centers. I'm sure I'm missing someone, but they, the Grizzlies at least just, at least with that piece of business, they're not locking themselves into long-term money. And, again, a rival in the Warriors now just have one less piece, especially if they've only got, at this point, Al Horford. So, really good from them. And then Chris Middleton, 3 years, $17 million, partially guaranteed, back to the Wizards. So that folds into a 6-team trade that we're not going to go into. But 35-year-old Middleton, basically takes him through to 38 with the Wiz. The Wizards now have, obviously, Debanza, Trae Young, AD, Middleton. They've got, of course, a boatload of rookies. Trey Johnson looked amazing in that game against the Jazz. They've got Keyshawn George, Will Riley. They've got a lot. Obviously, Alex Sarr. So really good signing. He'll probably play a bit this year and then fade away in the next few years. But great vet leadership. And they're doing what the Rockets did, which was, the Rockets had all this young talent but no vets. And then they bring in Fred VanVleet and Dylan Brooks. And that kind of sped up some of that process. So the Wizards are just kind of copying that formula. Don't have huge long-term money on the books with Middleton, but obviously with Trae Young's deal, I will still say it's a pretty horrendous piece of, negotiating from the Wizards' perspective and amazing from Trae Young's. Because, to have, when you've got no one else really bidding for Trae Young and you go straight up 4 years, $212 million, the max, I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. I wouldn't have done it. I thought 4 years, $140 million was more than fair for a guy that can't defend. But you know what? If it works out for the Wizards, they won't have to say anything. But if it doesn't, good luck moving that contract. And Usman Jang back to the Bucks as well. 23-year-old small forward. 3 years, $17 million, fully guaranteed. Finished last year pretty well for the Bucks. I think had a 30-point game in there. When you don't have much else to kind of fall back on, Well, you do now, but at the time, definitely, that's a Bucks kind of player. A bit of a project, great length, and now, can be paired with Kuzma, Miles Turner, Nate Ament, Braden Burries, Tyler Hero, Khalil Ware. Like, they've got a lot of guards and a lot of lengthy wings. So, there's, they're taking a chance. They've kind of given themselves a bit of a 2 to 3 year window of figuring out what they've got. And then I think they'll start trying to, get a bit more serious again. So I can see them using that signing as just we've got to spend this money somewhere. Let's take a chance on a guy and, go from there. But I like that. I like that a lot. Jalen Clark extends in Minnesota, 3 years, $10 million. I like Jalen Clark enough. I think it's a very good deal for the Minnesota Timberwolves. They need to play him. So that's probably going to be the hard part, is playing him. But other than that, it's a bit of a nothing deal. It keeps, obviously, 3 years with a rookie, not a rookie, a younger player, but he's not really done much in this league. So it's, you take a chance on him if you're the Timberwolves, and if you're Jalen Clark, you're hoping to get a bit more playing time now that the roster's starting to thin out a little bit. So Vucevic back to the Magic, 1 year, 3.9. Probably got to back up Wendell Carter. I'm not sure he's got too much left in the tank there. Andre Drummond, I think we said this last time, but off to the Knicks to replace Mitchell Robinson and Ariel Hukporti, 1 year, 3.9. So very different from Mitch Robinson, less of a rim protector, more of an offensive rebounder. While obviously Mitch Robinson was a great offensive rebounder, he was definitely more rim protection as well. So I think the Knicks lose a little bit there, but they also gain, something like 15 mil on their books by just swapping out those centers for Andre Drummond. So, it's a bit of a money thing at the moment for them, and they're not going into the second apron, so you get what you can off the scrap heap. Next part will be probably a bit more interesting, I think, is the available free agents. So we still got LeBron. LeBron probably won't decide for many months. Keep the team speculating and seeing what they do, and take his pick of who's best for him, who's going to be most fun. That guy clearly does not need more money, but he's still going to offer a lot to a team. So if you can get a 42 by the time the season starts, maybe 42-year-old player still producing at a high level for $6 million. In today's apron league, players that exceed their contract are just invaluable. So LeBron James is going to be the most, if you get the $6 million deal, the most amazing value for money that whatever team gets him. So I think it's down to, I think Denver's about 6 on his board, but I think you've got between the Minnesota Timberwolves, Philadelphia 76ers, Miami Heat, Golden State Warriors. I'm sure I'm missing one, or Cleveland. But yeah, it's his choice. 23 years in the league, carried them to a first round win against Houston last year. He's obviously still got the goods. Getting paid $51 million a year is just, it's not really a good use of your money these days in the apron era. So he's going to have to take a pay cut, whether it's his last year or not, who knows. But that flows into the next part is James Harden, Draymond Green remain unsigned. Draymond Green for the Warriors declined his player option. He's 36. James Harden declined his player option and hoping to work out an extension with Cleveland. He's 36. So both teams that LeBron could be vying for have players that are unsigned worth many, many millions of dollars. So yeah, if Harden can't work out an extension, I don't really know where he goes, because there's a lot of point guards in this league, and Cleveland did give up Darius Garland for him. So I think all the business in the NBA has been held up by LeBron. But yeah, if I'm James Harden, at some point you're probably going to have to pull the trigger on just committing to a deal, whether that's a fully guaranteed 2 or 3 year deal, or just going 1+1 as he's done for many years. I think Cleveland have to retain the asset, especially after giving away a guy that's 10 years younger than Darius Garland. Had a good year, always available, just not a great playoff performer. You can see when he's locked in, though, really, he actually puts an effort on defense. Great playmaker. But yeah, when he's not locked in, good luck. It's a messy contract, certainly. Draymond Green, yep, declined 25 mil, so he's probably aiming for 3 years, 45. Still ends up with more money, but takes a big hit off the Warriors cap sheet. Though, you do think about it, if it's Steph Curry, LeBron James, Draymond Green, Pods, Lundenberg, Horford, Porzingis, it looks fine on paper, but it is, depending on that starting lineup, it could be a real iffy bit of defense and also shooting. Yes, you've got the best shooter in the world with Steph Curry. Pods, I don't really trust. Draymond Green, don't really trust. LeBron, it comes and goes. And then you'll have Lundenberg or Porzingis, both, in that first Vegas game, Lundenberg versus Morris Johnson, and both looked amazing. One for Dallas, one for the Warriors. Really loved that gameplay. I can definitely understand why both went in the top 11. So, the Golden State Warriors have some work to do, but again, they carved out some more space by not signing back Quentin Post. Jonathan Kuminga, Steve Kerr must be laughing because for years he said Kuminga's just not good enough. Kuminga fought that and wanted this 4-year, $100 million contract. They just got him the qualifying offer, which is about $8 million. Oh, no, sorry, that was Cam Thomas. Jonathan Kuminga signed a 1+1 deal. I think it was 2 years, $45 million. And the Atlanta Hawks denied that second year after trading for him. So I don't really know what his value is in the league. Obviously, super athletic, needs the ball, not always switched on, takes some bad shots when he hasn't shot for a while. He's nearly 24, 5 years in the league, got nothing really to show for it. Yes, won the championship with the Warriors, but that was his only real contribution. And since then, has just been plugged on the bench. So there were rumors that the Lakers were going to go for him with not only an extension, but trading Jared Vanderbilt and a first-round pick swap in the future for him. I think if you're Atlanta, if you can't get anything else, and you don't want Kuminga, why wouldn't you just take that trade and move on? At least Kuminga can make some sense for the Lakers. Got a bit of upside. The Lakers have no other avenues to getting better, so take a chance on a 24-year-old. Super athletic, so Luka and him can throw lobs all day long. And if he improves his shot, then it's just another young player that can sit with Reeves and Doncic for 10 years. So I think it's way more upside for the Lakers than at the Hawks in that situation. And if I'm the Lakers, I'd get that done tomorrow. They're probably just working out with Kuminga what kind of deal they can get, because I'd say if Kuminga gets anything more than about 16 mil a year, you're starting to verge on a terrible contract. And again, we're trying to get contracts that you can outperform, and that doesn't seem like one if you get that. Matisse Thybulle really improved his three-point shooting, sitting in unrestricted free agency. He seems like a bargain deal for a few of these teams, like the Heat, the Lakers, obviously Portland, but Portland have plenty. You can see him going to Atlanta. You can see him going almost anywhere. He's only 29. If you can get him on a 2-year, $11 million deal, why wouldn't you? That's the guy in his prime that's really improved. Obviously always injury prone, but if you don't have many other options, why wouldn't you? Again, the Heat could really use a guy like that to surround Giannis and Bam, Davion Mitchell and Wiggins. If you have Thybulle there, who's scoring on you? That would be really hard to score. Benedict Mathurin still sitting out there. Restricted free agent with the Clippers, 24 years of age, pretty much guaranteed a 6-man role. It just probably depends on the money. I think at the moment it's just sitting with the qualifying offer of $7 million. I'm not sure the Clippers want to pay him, 4 for 100. I'm sure he's asking for about 4 for 130. I would say 4 for 60 is a pretty fair deal, with a player option, of course. Otherwise, you probably have to go 4 for 4 years, 74 mil, something like that if you don't include the player option. So, if I'm the Clippers and Mathurin, obviously Mathurin wants as much money as he can get, but apart from a couple games here and there against the Thunder in the playoffs, I wouldn't have said he's done that much. Talks a lot of smack. Hasn't really backed it up at all times. yeah, we'd love to see him actually have a consistent year where he's not injured, actually contributing to winning, those kind of things. Jet Howard got released by the Magic. He was a first-round pick, I believe number 11, a couple of years ago. Just dumped. Just didn't pick up his fourth-year option. So he's just floating in the ether. Not even 23 yet. Bit of a sharpshooter. Got some good size. Again, someone's going to have to take a chance on him, surely. And again, if I'm the Heat, another young player, but you need as many players with shooting as you can get. So if you can work out a deal with Thibault and Jet Howard, Bradley Beal, who's also sitting out there, why wouldn't you? I know you're probably holding on for this LeBron hope, but I don't think LeBron's really going to make too much of a difference to this current squad, because the biggest thing you need is obviously size, but shooting. And yes, it'd be nice to have LeBron back in Miami, but I think right now you're trying to build out a roster around a 2 to 3 year window with Bam and Giannis. And if you can get some of these potential upside swings to pay off, again, they're going to outperform their contract, and all they have to do is stand in the corner, shoot, and then defend. Amazing. So that's where Brad Beal's contract might come into question, because can shoot. I'm not sure he can defend that well, and but if that's all that's left in free agency, that's all that's left. Gershon Yabusele has gone overseas, but that would have been enough. He's peak of his career. He's 30, turning 31. Would have been an easy, low cost contract. Got some good size and can shoot the ball, but again, he's gone overseas, so that one's gone. Jalen Duren still just sitting out there, floating around. He and Detroit have not come to any such agreements yet. I don't think he's got any other offers out there. Most of the cap space is now gone. The Lakers were a great option. They got Walker Kessler. The Bulls, but they got Nick Claxton. These options just drying up thick and fast. So Jalen Duren and the Pistons need to hit something. Not soon. We still got all off season, but it would be nice to get some clarification on where Detroit's heading, because right now it seems like in this off season they've taken an appreciable step back by trading Isaiah Stewart and getting rid of Tobias Harris. Just bringing a lot of shooting without much, perimeter defense or anything. And if you lose your big man, Paul Reed has suddenly got to go from a third string center to a starting center, which does not seem like the greatest decision ever. Kyle Lowry retired after 20 years, goes back to Toronto. That was huge news. There's still some other free agents sitting out there. Russell Westbrook, Gary Payton, Dave Roddy, Bruce Brown Jr., Wendell Moore, Drew Eubanks, Peyton Watson. That's a big one. Peyton Watson, was on 2.8 mil. Now very much probably looking towards that 4-year, $80 million range. Whether Denver can afford to pay it or another team wants to try and pry him away. Again, the Lakers would probably love and die for Peyton Watson. He'd be around Luka Doncic all through his prime, but do they have the money? Probably not, now that they've spent it on Mamushkashvili, Sandro, Mamu, Grimes, Kessler, Sexton. So where's Peyton Watson going to go? I could see him, Brooklyn Nets throwing something out there. Even the Bucks. Not that they have a ton of spare cash, but I think Peyton Watson obviously best in Denver. But again, we're all revolving around LeBron. If Denver has a chance to get LeBron, LeBron and Jokic is a very tempting thing. So Peyton Watson's just kind of sitting there waiting, as we all are. He looked amazing there for 3 weeks last year before getting injured. So and he played it smart, didn't rush back, which some people would question if he's actually loves basketball. You're like, look, we've seen people rush back and it hurt their value. So I think he did the right thing, but now needs to go to the right situation where he's probably the third option. Because when his shot's on, 20 points a night kind of scorer. If it's not on, really good defender. Not packing that kind of scoring punch you need from a high high 20s, low 30s per year kind of guy. So that's why I think 4 years, 80 mil, fair deal for both sides. Other than that, look, we've got some lesser players still out there, but unless you're going for a Omax Prosper or Jalen Wilson, Nick Smith Jr., like there's not much else. Cam Thomas remains unsigned, Jeremy Sohan. You're scraping the bottom of the barrel suddenly. So, look, I said free agency isn't done, but it's basically at a complete standstill at the moment. So, we kind of are waiting to see who's next. DeMar DeRozan still, I've completely forgot. Sorry, he got released by the Kings. So the Kings are definitely freeing up some of their money. Obviously, no point paying luxury tax if you're in the lottery. They've got their Darius Acuff Jr., their cornerstone. Loved him in college. After watching 3 Summer League games, might be wrong about him. I thought he had about the 4th most potential in this draft. But as I read someone say, one of their pieces of work basically said that he doesn't have an extremely strong skill that he can fall back onto. And when you watch him, there's not an area on the floor that he seems dead comfy from, that it's money. Doesn't seem to have, that thing that he has, that go-to move, which will come in time. Wemby doesn't have it yet, but for a smaller guard, I think, look, if you don't have that, you've got to get it quick, because taking 29 shots for 25 points just is not going to cut it. But, he's 3 games into Summer League. We've got to cut him some slack. So, but yes, DeMar DeRozan out there, probably going to be close to the vet min, if not the taxpayer exception. Where does he go? Bit of an old school scorer. He's got more points in his career than Steph Curry does. I mean, where's a good fit for a guy in the mid-range? Like, I can't think of any off the top of my head. Maybe Philadelphia. Other than that, you're kind of drawing a few blanks there, because most of these teams trying to play quicker, shooting 3-and-D classic guys, and DeMar's kind of getting older, loves the mid-range, loves slowing the game down. You're kind of like really limiting your options when you play like that. So he's never been he's probably been one of my least watchable guys for a long time now, unfortunately. Talk about that. The Victor Wembanyama extension was announced, and that was, he took a $60 million haircut, which is amazing for the Spurs. So he signed it early, and he didn't go to the max. I think it was 5 years, 312, when he took 5 years, 250. So $60-odd million pay cut to give them some flexibility moving forward. So he's done a bit of a Jalen Brunson, not as generous as Jalen Brunson, but definitely allowing the Spurs a bit of wiggle room to try and keep Harper and Castle and that big 3 together, which is hard in this apron era. We heard the Brad Stevens and Bill Chisholm press conference after trading Jaylen Brown. That was, we all knew it. It was predictable, but Brad Stevens at least seemed genuine in how he was talking about, look, this is a move financially. Yes, we're taking back the same money, but it's only for 1 year, because Paul George has a player option in the second year. So we've got a few assets. We moved on from Jaylen Brown. We didn't want to, but we kind of did it for that flexibility in this apron era, while also saying would have been nice to have an option in the CBA where homegrown talent gets a discount on the cap. Jaylen Brown's been in Boston 10 years. Would have been nice that, yes, he's making 60 mil a year, but that 60 mil only counts as 45 mil against the cap. And basically, that way you can, grow this talent, draft well, and keep them, rather than having to trade them because he and Tatum are making up, 70%, over 2/3 of your cap between 2 players with 13 other roster spots. It's, really hard to do when you got 2 of the 5 most expensive players in the league. So, and look, 5 years ago, wings were all the deal. They were hard to find and had so much value in this league. And having Tatum and Brown was just a cheat code, absolute cheat code. 5 years later, Pretty quickly, to be fair, maybe 2 years. But now it seems to be more like good point guards and great centers, harder to find. And so, look, the point guards are everywhere, but a good one is hard to find. As you can, if you look through the league, Charlotte, I wouldn't say have a great point guard anywhere. Miami certainly doesn't. Brooklyn's trying to figure that scenario out. Mikael Brown Jr. looks fine. Jaeger Demon looks much better, but I wouldn't say they've nailed that down. As you go through like most of the teams, you're like, look, most good teams have a really good point guard, and if you don't, you're not going to go anywhere. I would say point guard and massive centers that can defend the rim and space the floor and not be too slow on their feet. This is where young Hanson's issue is at the moment for the Portland Trailblazers. I'd say these two wings kind of became a bit redundant in Boston, doing a lot of the same things at the same size, at the same money. And now, at least with Paul George, you've got a guy that's just going to sit in the corner, shoot threes and defend, and can get you a bucket in isolation. So slightly different because he doesn't have as big a role. He's going to be a bit happier, and hopefully they can extend a deal off that where they cut down the whatever it is, $57 million next year into a much more manageable chunk of money, so the Boston Celtics can compete again next year. As I said, Tari Eason's now been snapped up, we're looking a lot at Duran and Watson. The Detroit Pistons, just to summarise their moves, Isaiah Stewart gone, Karis LeVert gone, Marcus Sasser gone. So they pulled a lot of money, now at $48 million below the luxury tax. And the Nuggets are still over the luxury tax by 7.4 mil. So they've never been big spenders, they need to figure something out with Peyton Watson. And I think they could be a classic where they just sign and trade him and try and just get some other assets for future flexibility back. But we'll soon see. We've got a lot of that until I think we'd probably find most of this starts happening again around September, October. The last little bit is the random-ass Kawhi Leonard deal. Don't know what's going on there, but Kawhi Leonard was going to Toronto for Brandon Ingram, Grady Dick, 2 first, 2 future swaps. But instead that's now been paused by the league. And we've now had like a year-long investigation into aspiration. The Clippers, Steve Ballmer, Kawhi Leonard's uncle. And after a year, we've got Dick. Absolutely nothing to show for it. So unfortunately for the Raptors, their off-season is now getting held up. I don't really feel that bad for the Clippers at the moment. If they're proven innocent, then maybe you feel a bit bad for him. But Kawhi Leonard, potential cap circumvention, getting paid outside of the NBA, just to supplement, and basically, that is not what the cap's there for. We would love a bit of a resolution of that. So, if who knows what could happen with that? We're just speculating, but that's a big deal for the Raptors because giving up 2 firsts, 2 swaps, Ingram and Dick, it's a decent package for the Clippers for a 35-year-old. So if the league ruled that there was some guiltiness found, then I'd say that you're probably, voiding Kawhi Leonard's contract and the Raptors just get him for free. And then, you're probably just trade Ingram elsewhere. But, so the Clippers probably want to get this proven correct, that they didn't do anything wrong ASAP, and let's just move on from this whole aspiration episode because, it's actually, look, again, we're 3 months away from the season starting. We got plenty of time, but that'll disappear very, very quickly. So, we'd love to get an idea of where Kawhi is heading, how the Clippers are operating, all those kind of things. But, Toronto's the one at the moment that are just in limbo. They don't know if they have Kawhi Leonard. They don't know if they have their 4 picks back. Who knows? Donovan Mitchell obviously extended in Cleveland 4 years, $273. Could have waited an extra year and take 5 years, $360. So cost himself, $87 mil. But so it shows his loyalty to the to the Cavs, but also gives them some more flexibility. I think obviously it's a hard one because for these teams, flexibility is the aim of the game, but you want to retain your best players. So if your best players are, still quite happy to make whatever that is per year, I can't do the math, but 65 mil a year on average. I mean, that's plenty of money versus 90 mil a year. Hey, it's up to the team now to build something around him. I thought they would have been a really good Jaylen Brown team. Just swap out Mobley for Brown, but they kept them. So you've got to figure out that that small forward position and go from there. Because you've already lost Keon Ellis, and you are a little bit hard capped at the moment without having signed James Harden. So really good. Donovan Mitchell is going to spend his entire prime there. That trade from Utah. Look, the Utah Jazz took a bet on long-term picks from the Cavs. They obviously got Lauri Markkanen from it, but those picks aren't going to end up being what the Utah Jazz thought. So that trade seems actually a lot more in Cleveland's favor these days. But again, at least the Utah Jazz got Lauri Markkanen out of it. So Summer League, we'll hit that in just a tick, but now we have a quick break. Diving straight back in, Summer League. I would say there's been 3 really good games so far. Vegas' Summer League. Of course, they involve the best picks. Like some of the other games are, even if they're close on the score, when you're not watching the highest talent, it still makes for a tougher watch. So I'm slightly biased on the best talent available. But so far, Utah Jazz, Washington, Darren Peterson versus AJ DeBanter. I actually quite enjoyed the Mavs Warriors, Morris Johnson versus Axel Lundenberg. And then today there was yesterday. Memphis and the Grizzlies. Memphis and the Bulls going at it. So plenty of good games. Plenty of players showing out, like Cornwell from Miami, second round pick, 37th overall. Has been on fire. Real shooter, good size, decent defender, taking some decent shots, not just chucking. Looks like a great value pick at 37. So, if you can put a good shift in this year, extend him 4 years, 24 mil or something like that, that's a great player to have cost controlled for many years to come. So, good start for Miami there. But the game we all came to see, DeBanter, Peterson, did not disappoint. 4-point game, Washington get up. I mean, Washington clearly have more talent. It's basically Darren Peterson, Ben Hinson, Cody Williams, not my favourite, but hey, versus Jameer Watkins, Will Riley, DeBanter, Trey Johnson, Julian Reese. They got a bit more, they've a bit more of a stacked kind of squad here. But Washington get up by 4 points. DeBanter and Trey Johnson show out. DeBanter, 26 minutes, 27 points on 18 shots. Not the highest efficiency, 7 of 18. Trey Johnson, 26 points, 11 of 20. So both just, got to the rim. No threes for DeBanter, 2 from Trey Johnson, but huge improvement early from Trey, and DeBanter just looked basically like what we all thought Andrew Wiggins was going to look like. So he's kind of got, a bit bigger frame, but a bit more touch and class as well. So he looks like, Wiggins on roids. He looks a lot better. So, great game he came out and showed, especially after Darren Peterson dominated the Salt Lake City, Summer League. I thought, geez, it's going to be hard for DeBanter to up him here because Peterson looks like a young Kobe Bryant, and maybe the Wizards made a mistake, but nope, DeBanter came out and shut that up immediately and said Will Riley continues to get better. There was just fun backcourt from DeBanter and Trey Johnson. And the other side, Darren Peterson, 24 points on 18 shots as well. So he and DeBanter had a good duel. He was 6 of 18. And his playmaking wasn't as much there today as it was the other day for the Jazz. So the other day had 25 and 12. Today 24 and 3. So his playmaking. Look, he doesn't have the greatest players around him. I'd say, Hinson should be doing a bit more. He was 0 of 2. Cody Williams is a bit, it looks nothing like his brother. So Peterson, look, once he gets a few more weapons around him, Keontae George, Larry Markkinen, like Triple J, Ace Bailey, like those assists probably go up to 6 a game if he's concentrating. Because right now he's getting a few assists with trash pandas on the court with him. He looks so smooth. His jump shot looks like money. He's getting caught occasionally with turnovers and fouls. Like he had 8 turnovers and 9 personal fouls. There's no personal foul limit in Summer League. 9 personal fouls is a joke. But especially in 29 minutes, that is hard going. And 8 turnovers isn't great, but he is getting swarmed. The Summer League teams know there's nothing else on the Jazz to worry about. So he's getting swarmed and he's learning through it, but he looks so smooth. Literally looks like D Wade, Kobe Bryant kind of mold, where he just looks like he belongs at a basketball court, which is, if you're taking him second as a bit of a, what's his off-court, shenanigans like? Well, on the court, amazing value at the second pick right there. So great duel. Great to watch. A lot of fouls. Not so great. The Warriors Mavericks. Look, we had Lindenborg versus Merez Johnson. And look, the Warriors were up plenty at halftime. Like they were, 59 to 39. I mean, the game ended as an 11-point win. So the Mavericks fought back, but early on it was just, Lundenberg, he kind of looks lazy because he's just built that big and he's kind of casual. He looks a little bit like Kyle Kuzma at times, but then other times he just looks amazing. So haven't quite figured out his perfect comp yet, but amazing value at the 11th pick there for the Warriors. In this game, 28 minutes, 21 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists, and 8 of 13 from the field. Like, great efficiency. What else do you want from him? And then LJ Cryer, who played a little bit at the back end of the season for the Warriors, 25 points, 5 of 8 from downtown. So a little bit there for the Warriors to be happy about. Will Richard, not really much of a scorer, but did a bit of everything. 6 points, 4 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals and a block. There's plenty there for the Warriors to be happy about. If we go to the Mavs, not much here. There's Ryan Nemard. There is, I can barely say this, but Poulakitis, who just played a little bit at the back, that second half of the season for the Mavs, and then Merez Johnson, who had the quietest 27 points I've seen in a while. Had 25 minutes, 27 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals, 2 blocks, 12 of 17 from the field. So 7 personal fouls wasn't great by him, but hey, it's all learning, and he just looks like a solid screen setter. Loves to pick and roll, pick and pop. Great size. Just I think next to Cooper Flagg, Kyrie Irving, Derek Lively, he's going to fit in superbly. The fact he can shoot the 3 with confidence is huge. So for the Warriors to get Lundenberg, it just seemed to disappear for moments, and then when he came back with a flurry. So really like that. And then the Grizzlies-Bulls game, which was just back and forth, really good to see. Grizzlies get out to a huge lead early, and then the Bulls bring it all the way back. But Wilson, 33 minutes, 35 points, only 5 rebounds, probably could have done a bit better there. 2 steals, 3 blocks, massive one after a turnover in transition, just pins it off the back off Javonte Small. 7 threes though. That is the talking point, because he looked comfy as hell shooting the 3. There was step backs, there was in transition, so he's obviously been putting some work in, and the Bulls had the easiest choice ever at the draft. When you've got a top 4 or a consensus top 4, you don't really have to worry, because whoever's left you're getting. And he looks great. He's got a chip on his shoulder, great lob threat, great shooter. Not great shooter, we'll work on that, but I think Josh Giddey loves throwing a lob. He's got Claxton, he's got Buzelis, he's got Wilson. I could see the Bulls being very much a transition, hit the floor running kind of team and try and get those lobs up. As I said, Dalen Swain didn't look great, but he's playing the point guard position. Look, he ended up with only 2 turnovers. It felt like a lot more, 6 for Wilson. And Asenge is kind of invisible. He had 4 blocks. Yeah, he's just obviously a good glue guy, but yeah, not... he did miss his entire rookie year, so you can barely count him as a second-year player at the moment. But yeah, not where I would have gone with that pick last year. And on the other side, look, Cameron Boozer, 27 minutes, 23 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. Colin Coward, 17 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists. I mean, those 2 alone are just everything you want to start a franchise. Like they're, they've obviously got plenty more to the Grizz, but yeah, for those 2 alone, you're like, beautiful. They're huge building blocks to have. Cam Boozer can play 4. He can play the small 5. Coward can play 2 through 4. Every shot looks like it's going in. He just looks like a pro out there. And yes, he and Boozer both had 7 personal fouls each, but they're learning. And look, Boozer, he looks like a point guard in a big man's body. Because he's always just, he's at the top of the key and he's just waiting for cutters or someone to flash at open to the 3. So he's not forcing anything. Even today, only 12 shots. Could have taken a lot more. That 3-point shot's come a long way. Only 1 today, 1 of 1. But in the Salt Lake Summer League, he was banging them down. So another one that had questions about his shooting, but it's there. It's just obviously at Duke wasn't allowed to. But yeah, I reckon, again, with a few more weapons at his disposal outside of the Summer League roster, he'll average many, many more assists than 2 or 3 a game because he's always looking to make the right play. And it's unfortunately when you pass into less talented players, that shot's either been passed up or jacked or missed. It's just, it's not the greatest to read into. So, plenty there for the Grizz, the Bulls, the Warriors, the Wizards. But yeah, some of the disappointments have actually been, the Knicks Summer League team looks like absolute shit. 65 points total in their first game, 49 in their second. Diawara's been trash. I don't think he's actually scored a point yet. Oh, he's got a couple. He's 1 of 9 yesterday and 0 of 5 today. It's just trash. Dadier looks fine, but yeah. I mean, look, they're obviously don't have many young players, but that's a bad Summer League team. Yeah, Igor Denman looks much better. Actually looks like someone you can functionally watch. Loves passing the ball. I think he's obviously spent a year around the club and MPJ and he's shooting it a lot more, but his 3-point shot looks fine. Obviously, Mikael Brown Jr. also a bit of a flamethrower, so he's going to shoot the ball a lot. MPJ is going to shoot the ball a lot. Julius Randle's going to shoot. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting time in Brooklyn Nets, but at least you've got some tent poles to build around with those 2. But yeah, as I said, Acuff, not amazing. Hasn't. I thought he was going to be a lot better. Hasn't looked great. Even against the Clippers, 6 of 20 for 19 points, 7 assists. Nick Clifford's fine. Caravan's not been great. Cardwell's been fine. But yeah, they're just, the Kings have a little bit to be worried about, I think. A lot to be worried about. The Clippers, Wagler, look, didn't play great in his first game. 1 of 7. Had 5 fouls. Only 1 turnover, that's good. But just 7 points in total. Just, didn't really make an impression on me at all when I was watching him. It's, had good size. Looks fairly calm under pressure, but just, his jump shot looks a little goofy. But hey, it's his first Summer League game. We'll watch for the second one. The Timberwolves, look, Isaiah Evans hasn't set the world on fire. I thought he was going to be much better. He was, 2 of 16 today, which is a shame. As we go through, look, actually, big, like, the Hawks. The Hawks, when they had, I can't even remember his name, Zuby Elijah-Four. When he got picked at number 23, I thought, what a stretch. He's not that kind of guy. He's not him, but holy shit has he been good. Like, he's been he's been hitting threes. He's been blocking shots. He's been lob threat potential. Like, yeah, really good. So great value, great scouting from the Hawks. Yeah, really impressed with him. Kingston Fleming's not as impressed. Barely getting double figures each game. Not shooting it because he can, just making the right play. Look, he seems to be able to get into the paint pretty well, but not. Obviously when he's spraying it out, the shooters aren't the same because to get 8 assists in a summer league game's honestly pretty impressive because for that 8 assists, it's usually at least 16 to 20 shots. So he's making plays for others that just not falling. So he's got that potential to get into the paint, collapse the defense, kick it out, but we just haven't seen much scoring threat from him at the moment. Visar's looked fine, good floor spacing, good size. LeBaron Philon looks pretty decent for the Sixers. Obviously, he fell in the draft, but yeah, he's 18 points, 20-odd points, like not super efficiently, but looks fine out there. Doesn't look undersized, doesn't look overwhelmed, undermatched. So he's it's just his navigating of screens that's going to be the big one for him. He's not got the size to burst through, and so he's not going to blow up any handoffs or anything like that. He's just going to survive on defense because on offense, great handle, pretty good vision, but yeah, just needs to become a bit more of an efficient scorer. So other than that, look, I'm sure I've missed a couple of rookies, but again, we're watching the Bucks Heat. That was a 33-point drubbing. Conwell played pretty well again, 19 points. But yeah, the Heat have gone a bit of a different way with getting a bit of an older roster. While Burries looked fine, 18 points, 21 minutes. Nate Ament, as I said, not my favourite player, 6 points. I thought a bit of a trash panda. Yakatunas looked fine, not very efficient. It's good luck to the Bucks. That's basically where we're going there. The Celtics. Hilarious. So Hugo Gonzalez basically held up the Giannis trade for them. Played 37 minutes, 17 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists and a steal. Looks fine on the stat sheet. Scroll over. 3 of 16 from the field, 1 of 9 from downtown, and 3 turnovers. So, played hard, didn't do much, not efficiently at least. And then you had Chris Sinak, who was drafted, 29th? Something like that. 27th? Who 29 minutes, 14 points, 10 rebounds, 4 blocks, 5-13 from the field, 2 or 4 from downtown. So he looked much more impressive to me. Obviously, Hugo Gonzalez is the main target for opposing defenses, but still not the way you want to kind of come out after being the sticking point in the Giannis trade. I think that's pretty poor way to treat your front office that just defended you because, boy, you look like shit. And I'll finish with kind of the Oklahoma City and Lakers. Lakers, look, they've got really, I would say, like 3 people they're keeping an eye on. Tiero, who was their pick last year. Cam Carr, who's looked really comfy really early. Good 3-point shooting. Seems to be a good ISO scorer and good size. And then Kaluma, Arthur Kaluma, undrafted out of Texas. He's had a couple of big games now and quite efficient as well. So he's looked, I would say they've got to keep an eye on him. I can't quite see his size, but he is, if you're going undrafted, look, this is as good a way to put a bit of a spotlight on yourself as you can. And then, for the Oklahoma City Thunder, Barnheiser looks fine. Sturts looks like a good shooter, just not super efficient at the moment. And Ademara, great size, obviously has a bit of a post game, working on his outside shooting. Good paint protector, but hasn't really offered too much offensively yet. As I said, Sturts is putting up numbers, but not efficiently. Barnheiser's efficiently, just getting along, just taking the shots there, which is basically how he plays in the regular season. So, just showing that experience of I'm just going to play my role, summer league or not. But I have been quite impressed with, I believe I can't remember his name actually, but Pritchard from Oklahoma. He seems to kind of have a bit of an aura around him. So I would say, or maybe it's Pritchard Sanford. I will get back to you on that one. But one of those two, they look like they've been here before. They've got a bit of that about them. So a lot of rookies to be excited about. We'll have to at the end of Summer League update the I guess the draft it had. We take it very early overreaction to the draft, but right now it's top 4 and then a massive chasm. I would say obviously that you've got your Michigan players, your Murray's Johnsons and your Lundebergs that have taken their stock up. Sanak, Zuby, they've taken their stock up, and then you've got all those guards. Mikael Brown's done pretty well in his one game, but all those guards, Wagler, Acuff, Kingston Fleming, that have just looked, not their best so far. So, if in a redraft this very second, you'd be like, give me the size of Lundeberg and Murray's Johnson over the guards. But this is what the draft's all about. It's a bit of a crapshoot. So, amazing start to the Summer League. I don't think we're going to see too many of these players anymore. But it's been great to follow. Good to have basketball back, and great to have a bit of beef on the sideline with Bam and Hero. But we won't get into that because I'll cry. No, I'm kidding. Basically, I think the reporting is that Bam and Hero got into a bit of a scuffle before the Bucks and Heat game, and Hero got a bit of a punch on with Bam. Not sure who started it. I think Bam may have started it. We digress. We move on. But bit of a look. You're going to have 3 pretty salty players from Miami, plus Yakachunas, and the Bam. Basically anointed the franchise untouchable. Probably doesn't sit super well with them, and I think they had a bit of beef about that after. So, bit of a shame, but it's over now, and we will catch you at the end of Summer League. We'll update our rankings, give you a potential kind of calculator on who I think is going to have the highest upside from this draft, and any other free agent signings we have. Be sure to like, follow, subscribe, wherever you get these podcasts, because it really helps us all out a lot, especially if you're enjoying them. You can also give us a message if there's any points you want touched on, talked about, hey, we can do it. So thanks for listening. We will catch you next time.